We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We're deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. That sound means you're back on the air with the restaurant brokers, Eric and Robin Gagnon. And cheers! We have been talking about alcohol today with some phenomenal experts from Bacon Brothers Public House, Two Skinny Drunks, and Casual Pint. And Eric, now it's time to take that information and give everybody the inside scoop and unbridled truth about the business, our restaurant reality segment. What stuck out for you in hearing these folks today, really with a strong focus on craft cocktails, craft beers?
Man, there's a lot that struck me. And again, special thanks to Jason, John, and Nathan. They were great guests today. Lots of information. I think if you don't do any craft cocktails right now, if you have not even thought about it, or whether it's, when I say craft cocktail, I don't just think about alcohol. Think about beer, wine, even just mixers and things that you can put that you can use in your food or your bar, and you're way behind the eight ball. You got to get to work today. I mean, you got to put that pencil up right now, pick up that pencil and start taking notes because you are way behind. I mean, this is what I've seen today is very clear to me that your bar is no longer just a waiting room for your customers. I mean,
well, and when you think about the profitability that drives from the bar, because your margin on alcohol is so much higher than your margin on every other element. So if you start to not have that great experience, that, when somebody goes to a bar, and they all said it, there's been this evolution. It's not about the old, think about the 80s where they're flashing bottles around and this, that, and the other. And it's not about having the cutest girl behind the bar either. It's really, these customers are discerning and demanding. Yes. And if they are gluten-free, they want a craft cocktail made with organics that has gluten-free ingredients and somebody that can talk knowledgeably with them about that. Or they want to try that next best thing. The same way you wouldn't put your same old menu out there for 20 years on end, unless you're kind of like a boring, just sort of franchise run-of-the-mill. You can't just keep serving up the same gin and tonic with a splash of lime juice without giving some strong consideration to what that menu looks like.
And I can hear you right now, if you're in your car or you're listening to you on your Apple device on iTunes, saying that, well, this is going to cost me more money, so yeah, it's profitable, but I'm going to lose money. And this is where you're wrong, because if you look at it carefully, if you go observe, I mean, they talk about it, go do your research, go to look people will pay even more money for that. Your margins will probably increase, actually. They will pay, if your regular gin and tonic is $10, whatever area of the country you're in right now, and you start putting craft mixers and craft, vodka and different things like that in there, or gins, whatever you're putting in there, you could probably get $12, $13, $14. And that may increase your drink by 50 cents, but you're making $3 extra. I mean, do not fall in that trap that, you think, but by shorting the cost of your liquids, you're actually making more money. You have to take that leap, because that's what, like Robin just said, this is what people want. And another key, they said you have to be very, very tight with your vendors. You got to help them out. They have to help you out, but you have to work heavily with your vendors to come up with the right thing. We heard about today a very big thing is where do you start? Because I've asked the question to our guests today. Start local. So if you have in your area, whether it's beer, wine, or maybe there's a lot of alcohol, producers now that are local, whether they do vodka or different types of gins or ryes or whatever they have. So find out how to get to these people, because not only that, you can probably have the producers to come to your place and make an event out of it. We talk about that a lot today, about making events out of these things, Robin.
Yeah, I love that idea, but I will say this. The reality of this business, just the way we talk about every single week, is you can't listen to the show and say, oh, yeah, I kind of get into that. You've got to commit, make a plan, as Eric said, start working with your vendors, and then you have to communicate it. You have to communicate that change and make sure that there's messaging out there. Just having 3 or 4 different new cocktails, craft cocktails on the menu isn't going to be sufficient. You've got to post that menu, and you've got to tell a story. Why is that local ingredient that you're using special, unique? Who was the inspiration for that cocktail? I mean, the marketing side of me always wants to just walk into a restaurant and just invite them to please tell a story with their picture, tell a story with their description on the menu, and that's absolutely true of that drink menu, because what you want to do is excite somebody so much about that. Then what do, Eric? They take a picture. They tweet about it. They put it on Instagram, and all of a sudden, you've got a new star of your menu, and it's something that PS just gave you a 70% profit margin rather than that appetizer that your chef just spent hours creating that only has a 25 or 35% profit margin. So you really need to invest this time into the opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about the new profile of a bartender, the bartender position. The bar people have changed, but one thing is like people like John that's, have mixers and everything. Time is money. If you can do a faster drink, that equals to faster money and profits in your pocket. So it's not like you have to go out there and, start mincing bacon and then, and squeezing honey and do different things like that and infuse it and things like that. If you can do that, you can work your way up there. But this is not where it starts. You have to look at that from that perspective. I mean, but you have to start making these changes. I mean, we talk about maybe alcohol consultants on the rise. Maybe there's somebody that can come once a quarter, like we talk about in previous shows about a chef coming. You can have one of these guys coming and help you. Where do I get started? I mean, you don't wipe out your menu overnight, but gradually and get your customer. We always talk about that, Robin, right? About how we get customers involved into the process and having tastings and make it events. Hey, we're changing our bar. We want to know your opinion.
Well, and guess what? You start that conversation on Twitter, and all of a sudden, people who never even knew about you, who get connected with you because they're connected with somebody, start weighing in and say, hey, nobody's doing this. And, name a drink after your best customer or the best recommendation. You think that guy's going to become a regular? You think he's going to bring his mom, his brother, his cousin, and everybody in his Twitter funnel with him when he comes out? So think about it as a way to not just fix a piece of the business that's maybe not as successful. It's a marketing opportunity.
Absolutely. That's a great idea, and it's so true. I mean, the bar is an entity on its own. You've got to look at it as your biggest profit center, treat it as its own, which is part of your operation, but it's rising on its own. I mean, it is definitely more interactive. I mean, the bar, not only the engagement where, your old bartender, like we talk about Cheers today, where they just can become your personal psychologist for a couple of drinks, but you have to be more interactive about that, knowledgeable. People want a special drink, and they may tell you what they're in the mood for, and somebody can craft them a cocktail. So you also got if you have great bartenders, they need to start being educated on the new way of doing cocktails and getting in that direction, or getting people in there that can actually get to that direction for you. It's very important because it is definitely visual as well. People want to see, hear, feel. I mean, we always say, what's the first thing you do? You see it. Your drink, your food, you're going to see it before you taste it.
Absolutely. And people do eat with their eyes. Cannot tell you that enough times. And I also think that the point you talked about briefly during the show and just recapped is calling in an expert. That doesn't mean that you failed. It means that you have actually outgrown your capacity to drive your business to the next level. It can be the most strategic thing you've ever done is to just call in an expert and ask them to, hey, take a look at my cocktail menu, do an evaluation for me, come back and give me a recommendation. Take 50% of what they said and it turns into more money. then you've just served up a win-win for your company.
Yeah, and Robin and I mean, we don't know everything. I mean, even in our business on day-to-day, we're not expert in technology all the time. We're not expert in telephony. We're not expert in different things. We bring in experts to help us, and believe me, every time we say we don't want to do it, then we do it. We're so glad. They provide so much value to you. Do not hesitate to do that. And also, if you want to see some listings of bar or craft cocktail places, don't hesitate to go to WeSellRestaurants.com. We have several of them available, Robin.
Absolutely. You know, that is your online resource, your authority and source for information, restaurants for sale, blog articles, direct links to all of our social media, our YouTube channel. After all, we give to this industry every single week through this program our knowledge and experience, and then we hope to gain that back from each of you who are listening. Thank you for your time today. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon, and we are the Restaurant Brokers.